Hello everyone and welcome back to Southern Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. Tomorrow is going to be a live stream day. Usually, or sometimes I have some technical issues, so I may start a different stream than the one that is saying that is coming. So please pay attention to that. Please bring some questions, some comments, some things that you'd like me to see, whatever floats your boat. So, a lot of developments have happened. Let's start with the stock market, or the bond market in this case. TLT doing very strongly today, almost up 3%. Also not ideal. You don't want to see too much people in the bond trade, but you do want to see the bond going a bit higher. So I think we may have put in a triple bottom, which would be very bullish going forward. Now, we don't care here in this channel about bonds, just as a general guideline, a shepherd to the market, let's say, which is important to always pay attention to it. Gold has sold off quite aggressively, actually, ever since Peter Schiff had a video on Twitter, basically dancing with Flo Rida, that gold, completely euphoric, that gold has been coming down steadily. It's basically because there's more hope for the tensions happening. As I've said before, I think gold is going up because it's catching a bit the fact that the decade between 2011 and 2021, it did absolutely nothing, but a lot of it was driven by conflicts in the Middle East and Europe. So if this gets sorted out, I do expect more sell-off in gold to come. If they don't, obviously I expect gold to be stronger. So Peter Schiff has been in complete cope mode. He's been struggling quite a bit, particularly, and this is also to a person that used to comment my videos. That person was saying, what if Bitcoin will never put in a new all-time high versus gold? What if this was it? And I told that person, yeah, no way. In my opinion, Bitcoin will put in a new all-time high versus gold before the end of the year. And here we are. We've put a new all-time high versus gold. So that argument is now out the window. Of course, Peter Schiff has been talking about how Bitcoin has been in the bear market versus gold for almost 3 years. What he fails to say is that Bitcoin was in the bear market versus gold between 2014 and late 2016. Then it put a new all-time high, and then a lot of new all-time highs. 2018 to 2020, it was in the bear market versus gold until it put new all-time highs in 2021 and a lot of new all-time highs. And now the same story has happened. It was in a bear market between 2022 and 2024 until it just put in a new all-time high versus gold. See, this is the part that Peter Schiff doesn't tell you, and clearly didn't tell this person in the comment section. So I hope that person is now finally figuring out that listening to Peter Schiff more often than not will lead you to trouble. Now, one of the things that I'm very curious to hear Harry Dent talking about, he has been using as an argument that this rally would collapse because the Russell 2000 was failing to put in a new all-time high. Well, today that changed. Russell 2000 finally put in a new all-time high. So I want to see what's going to be the theory this time. I get the feeling that he's going to say that the crash is going to happen in 2026, 2027. So we will just advance the goalposts into the future and keep on selling the same everything's going to crash kind of mentality. Once again, he predicts a crash about 4 times a year. Eventually, he will be right. Now, going to crypto, there's a bit of bad news about Bitcoin. Last week, Jim Cramer said in his show, when Bitcoin was 99K, he said, everybody should own a Bitcoin. This is actually quite scary. As soon as he said that, the Bitcoin dominance chart peaked. Like, from the moment he uttered those words, the Bitcoin dominance has been falling non-stop. Like, to the second of that guy saying that, Bitcoin dominance immediately came down. It's amazing to see. The power of that man as an inverse oracle is actually uncanny. I think if the Matrix is real, and we do live in the Matrix, I think Jim Cramer is the clue that we live there. Like, nobody can be so wrong so often. By the way, what this means, FYI for all the Bitcoiners there, it doesn't mean that Bitcoin is going to go down. It just means that other things will outperform it. As you guys know, I've been saying that the full-fledged altcoin season should become more obvious, typically middle of December, but don't be surprised if it starts beginning of December. I've also predicted Ethereum for a long time that it would play catch-up, and basically Ethereum would start pumping, and I do still expect Ethereum to be above 5,000 before the end of the year, maximum mid of January, before it is at 5,000 at least. So we'll see if that happens or not. I added two lottery tickets, or what am I saying? One lottery ticket, which was ETHGUY. I put it here in the description. It is a complete gamble. I think more likely than not, I'm going to lose all my money on that one. So I put something like $600 into it. And the other one was, I couldn't believe it, I saw BOPPY below 600K. So I immediately put in $1,000 in it on top of my other $1,000. So basically my cost average is now around 585K or so. So to me, anything below $1 million in BOPPY is very cheap. Anything below 800K is really very cheap. Anything below 600K is the dream. So every time that I see BOPPY below 600K, I'm going to be there accumulating a little bit more. To me, it has survived a 95% drop. I think HOPPY will do very well, which means I think BOPPY will also do very, very well. Pulse-chain ecosystem starts to really show some good light. PDAI has done officially a 10,000x from the bottom when it touched 1.8 cents. Will it back to the dollar? We don't know. That's the narrative. Very curious to see. As I've said, is one of my lottery tickets. So by the way, just to be clear, I have one new lottery ticket, which I put in the description. Also the entry point. Extremely high risk. If you ask me today, if you need to bet, will you lose all your money or make a lot of money on that one? I would say most likely lose all my money. And I've accumulated more in BOPPY because I do believe that the narrative is strong, and I think the community is also very strong. So I do have confidence to put a little bit of a sizable position. So now I have about a little bit over 2K in BOPPY, which is a bit on the high side of my lottery tickets, but I do have some hopes for that one. Now, is there anything different in terms of timing of this cycle? No. Gary Gensler has dropped out. We're going to have a very pro-crypto SEC person. As I've said, if she would have won, we would have had, it's like climbing. So let's imagine the crypto market is like climbing the mountain with someone trying to pull you down. And now we are climbing the same mountain, but with someone pushing you up. That's essentially the big difference. What I'm trying to say is we would eventually get on top of the mountain. Is that, of course, with Trump, things are much easier and much more friendly. And I still think that March, April, a lot of altcoins will peak there. I think March, April, there's going to start a sell-off in Bitcoin. Will we come back later in the year for another last hoorah before the bear market? That's my expectation. I think so. Can it be the case that it peaks in April and that's it? Yes, it's also possible. At this stage, it's very hard to say. I get the feeling most likely that we're going to see a ramp up into late March, early April. A lot of altcoins will peak there, sell off in Bitcoin, and then we have a last hoorah at the end of the cycle, more towards September, October, or even November, somewhere early Q4, late Q3, early Q4 2025 to finish the cycle. What could change this? Well, on the negative side, if we had a rampant escalation of conflicts, I think that in the short term will be quite negative for the markets. As we know, in the long term, the creation of liquidity is actually bullish. But I mean, if you say like a black swan event, like a nuclear event of some nature, I mean, all bets are off. Also, the other thing that could cause some very curious environment would be if, of course, the US approves Senator Loomis' bill on the US acquiring 5 million Bitcoin. Sorry, a million Bitcoin, which would be 5% of the supply, meaning 200K per year over 5 years. And because that would be more than the new supply of Bitcoin per year at the moment. And also the institutional FOMO. So Microsoft will have, there's going to be voting of having Bitcoin in the balance sheet of Microsoft. Of course, if that goes through, that's also a very bullish event. But most importantly is the governmental part. Why? Because if the US does approve it, you need to understand that you may have other countries, allies and enemies, both of them, in which they say, I really don't trust this Bitcoin stuff. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But what if the US is seeing something that I'm not seeing, and I'm going to regret this for the rest of my life? So it becomes a game theory event. See what I mean? Then a lot of countries may look at it, okay, we also need to acquire a position just in case even if they hate Bitcoin, they need to acquire a position just in case something will be really key in the crypto world and Bitcoin will be what the US expects it to be. And then the other ones get left behind. Once again, enemies and friends alike. So very interesting times. We still have sell-offs. We still have correction periods. We still have consolidation periods. This will be part of the game. They will last less time than before. So things that used to take 3 weeks to process will probably now start to take 2 days. It's a very dangerous time period in the sense that it's very easy for you to be left behind. And with that, let's keep it a little bit short today. I'm going to do a live tomorrow. And don't forget, pop up, drop some questions, drop the like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.